Let me see a show of hands. How many of you are aunts and uncles in this room? I'm not here. And how many of you would you consider yourselves the favorite aunt or uncle? We gotta have more people. No. But if you're not an aunt or an uncle, or for everybody in this room, how many of you would actually say that you have or have had a favorite aunt or uncle, somebody that you looked up to? Well, I think we can all agree that family relationships are some of the closest and some of the deepest relationships that a human can have. And recently, I found out that my brother and sister-in-law are expecting. So I'm going to be an uncle come January of 2014. And so I'm very happy about that. And today, what I wanted to talk with you guys about was I wanted to entertain and enlighten you guys about how I plan to take the favorite uncle title. And there's a couple ways I'm going to do that today. I'm going to show you the different ways that I want to do it. It's to be lots of fun, to be present, to be a good example, and also to do more than the other uncle. Well, the first element in my ultimate plan is to be a lot of fun. Now, in regards to being a lot of fun, according to Will Murray, he wrote a book called The Definitive Guide for Being the World's Greatest Aunt or Uncle. And he says one of the most important jobs of the uncle is to teach kids how to be children. And so what that means is he says to pull different jokes, pull riddles, or all sorts of different fun things that kids love to do, just to help them to be revitalized and help them to be kids again. So a personal example of me was when I was younger, and a few years younger I should say, my uncle was joining the family, and he decided to make a good impression. He really wanted to. So what he did was he actually took us out and we were playing soccer. We were just kicking the ball back and forth. And I wasn't feeling the greatest that day. I had a stomach ache. And what had happened was after we were done, I didn't say anything, but he held me in his arms. This was a long time ago. This is about when I was about 4 years old. He held me in his arms, and unfortunately, I just threw up all over him, all over his jacket. And so we still talk about that today, so it's created some good memories and a real decent closeness with my Uncle Jack. But the funny thing about that day was that wasn't even his jacket, it was my dad's jacket. So those are just, that's just some things you can do, is just to try to come up with fun things that they love, or to do other things like that. But the other thing we can do, or what I plan to do, is to, in regards to being fun, is to spoil the kid. And so for every birthday, I'm going to have a fun card, and I'm going to put some moolah in that card. And for every Christmas, I've thought about some different fun, inexpensive, really cool gifts to give my little nephew. Like Silly Putty, or Magic 8 Ball, or a whoopee cushion, or a slinky, or anything along those lines. Just something that'll be a lot of fun for them. And then the other thing I'm going to do to have a lot of fun is I'm going to take them places. We're going to go to the zoo, we'll go to Legoland if he wants to, we'll go to an art museum if that's what he's into, and I'm just really excited about that opportunity. And the other thing is about being an uncle, and about being the most favorite uncle, is to do things a little bit dangerous and more adventurous. And so a lot of when I grew up, I'm just thinking about that. And a lot of my uncles allowed me to do things that I probably normally wouldn't have been able to do if I was under my parents' roof. So some things that I was thinking about doing, depending on the age, would be to run around the house with the kid, just all around the house, everywhere. I'll toss them up in the air if I can, and I thought it would even be fun to even role play and play a little James Bond or a little Mission Impossible, anything like that. And also, if they're a little bit older, I'll go shooting guns at a gun range. That'd be fun. And then when I was a kid, or I remember from one of my uncles, was he actually let me drive in an open parking lot before I was old enough. So that was just a lot of fun for me. I was just thinking about different ways I could have fun with my little nephew. Now the second element in my formula is to be present. And that's very important to me. And it's very challenging because I live here and my brother and sister-in-law live in Southern California. So that's a little bit harder for me to do. And so, but what I want to do is I will offer to fly them, or I will go visit them at least every 6 months to a year or every other year. I'll try to do vacations where we can do destinations where we can all get together. And so that'll be a good time. And according to FamilyShare.com, some of the things that you need to do as an uncle is to write them letters or call them. And so what I plan to do is I plan to call, text, email, write letters, or who knows what kind of technology it's going to be in the years to come. And I'm going to be able to do that. And I want to do that at least once a week if I can. I'm trying to be very on top of the ball there. And so the other thing I'm going to do is listen to him. But on a serious note, the other part of the formula is I want to be a good listener, or be a good example and a good influence. So I want to be able to have him see my life choices and the decisions that I make, and be able to go ahead and see what I've done and help to impact his life for good. I also want to be able to be a good counsel for him. I want him to be able to listen to me, or I want to be able to listen to him, and I also want to be able to show him that I care and give him some good insight, and just be there for him whenever he needs it. Now the final element is I want to do more than the other uncle. Because she only has one brother, I only have one competitor here. And so it's going to be a very contentious battle between me and the other competitor. But what I plan to do is I plan to do more. If he goes to visit once, I'll go visit twice. If he gives the kid $20, I'll give him $40. I'll try to overdo it. Of course, I'm just very green when it comes to this topic, so I'm sure everybody can see that. But it's just a lot of fun. So those are some of the elements that I want to do. So in conclusion, everybody sees I want to be the favorite uncle. I want to be the best uncle possible. And if I follow my formula of being lots of fun to being present and being there for them and being a good example and doing more than the other uncle, I think in theory I'll easily win the title. So regardless of what happens, I look forward to helping my nephew have the best life possible. Thank you.
Got a lot to learn.
In the spirit of disagreement, I disagree with the uncle's role. I'll give you my story briefly. When my sisters had their children, I'm the youngest of four. I had three older sisters, and